How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be featuring the Halland, the legendary tier pan-European destroyer. Halland with the universal guy, Conrad Helfrich, kind of has been my favorite experience in Halland even before this thing got a radar and I guess the DPM buff. Just being able to use this thing more as a gunboat has kind of been my go-to. Now, building torpedoes on this thing can be funny at times, especially when you have, what is it, like 95 knot torps if you truly build into torp speed. It can be fun at some times, but at the same time, these torpedoes don't do nearly enough damage where you're going to feel like you are doing a very good job as a torpedo boat. So for the most part, building into guns just has been my go-to, and on top of that, it did receive a buff where they gave it radar, and they also gave this thing Friesland main battery DPM, which Friesland at tier 7 is a pretty nutty gunboat considering it does only have guns, but Halland being at legendary tier, you do still have torpedoes, and well, you do have a radar, so you can do some pretty spicy things. Also, using Conrad Helfrich, you do have standard fall, so you do get 0.2% of reload for every 1% of HP lost. So realistically, if you're at a low amount of HP, which you will see later, this thing can have a pretty nutty reload, which I think we do get it down to 1 second, which honestly isn't too much, just simply considering the fact that this thing does already have like a 1.4 second reload, but having that 1 second reload puts this ship's DPM basically into the 400,000 range. So kind of on par with the gearing, although you do have 1 less turret and 2 less guns. But we pop our radar somewhat prematurely here though. We do spot the enemy Shima, which is great for our team, but at the same time, we're not going to be able to finish him off anytime soon, because now we kind of have to wait for another radar to come off of cooldown, which, considering there are 2 destroyers, might have been a mistake to use it so early, but at the same time, I did want to see where everything was. We have a Legate kind of pushing in. He doesn't look too sure though, but seeing him kind of getting close to the corner, I mean, he's a small inch away from just charging around the corner and having his AI gaming shred us to death. Friendly defense just giving us a love tap here, and he is just charging into the objective. Luckily he's right here though, so I'm assuming he does have sonar. Friendly Yamato pushing in, enemy Legate just goes down instantly. Overmatchable bow. Him not moving basically makes it extremely easy for ships to just shoot the parts that they can overmatch. So unfortunately for the Legate, him just stopping, well, that was his biggest issue. He probably should have just full center on the corner, and maybe he could have gotten off torpedoes and maybe even dev struck a DD and or a defense. Enemy Aki just sitting there. We are spotted by the enemy Shima, who is continuing to go around the corner. Enemy Venezia trying to take pot shots at us with sap since we're spotted, which can be an absolutely large issue. We do set the Yamato, sorry, not Yamato, Aki on a double fire. And at this point, we're going to slowly peek out and see where everything is. Venezia is reversing. He got a pot shot at us, and well, fortunately for us, he had pretty bad aim and he was unable to do any meaningful damage, which if he did, I mean, it obviously wouldn't be the end of the world. We would just have to play a little more safer, but we can do kind of a lot of reload buff if we did take a huge chunk of damage from Venezia's sap. But at this point, seeing all of those ships reversing and being kind of in a really awkward position, not really anywhere for us to turn around, I just decided to go through the gap, and we'll try to make our way back towards the Shima that we know is on the flank. With the Legate there, couldn't really just charge out, so unfortunately we did have to duck to the right, and then with all of those ships there, Venezia, a Rhode Island with radar, probably with radar. Maybe he had engine boost or a fighter, and well, basically wasn't using one of the strongest things about Rhode Island, which we have seen in the past, but not great to assume, and then well, basically die because of it. So we just play the safe route. We just go around the island to try and find the Shima. Shima, though, for whatever reason, gets himself spotted while he's behind a battleship. I don't really know how you do that, but he just drives straight into his detection range. And at this point, he is trying to turn away, but we have some god tier fire chance. We set him on a triple fire, and now we just need to chase him down. We do have the fire chance skill in the first row, but at the same time, I don't think that's nearly enough fire chance to have done that to the Shima. He is also still on fire. Our damage is still ticking. We also had a witherer in 5 minutes with this thing, which is kind of crazy. We pop our radar just to see where this Shim is going. He is trying to run away the best he can, and he's still on the triple fire. Maybe I should have waited for the fire to take some more damage and then pop the radar, but at that point, Shima already dead. We did all of the damage to Shima, and Victoria does fire one salvo when he's on a low amount of HP. A little bit of our fault for missing a lot of shells while he was running away. Probably could have waited a little bit longer and maybe caught him broadside or something trying to dump torps. But at this point, Shima's dead. Now there's just a bunch of battleships and a cruiser to deal with. So we're just going to go out to the flank now. Nothing's really going to spot us. We know we just have to stay 9.5 away from the Rhode Island. And, well, Venezia might be charging in, but I'm sure at some point someone will push in. So we just need to keep our distance. Halland torpedoes, 13.5 kilometers. Or is it 14 or 15? Something ridiculously far. We should be fine to basically just spot and torpedo everything. We dump our torpedoes for the Venezia and the Aki dual-purpose torps, hoping to hit both. Although Venezia may be just charging straight at the island, so maybe a pretty low chance that we actually hit him. But it seems like he's slowing down, possibly just trying to avoid battleships at this point, so we may be able to finish him off here, as he does eat 3 torpedoes. But Halland torpedoes not doing any damage. I mean, he eats 3 of them and basically doesn't really do anything. We do get close to the Rhode Island. We're just under 9.5, and we do get caught in his radar. But at this point, we have our engine boost active. Conrad Helfrich, we are using Velocious in that 3rd row, which kind of allows us to have a normal destroyer speed. Not having Velocious and even his base trait going 35 or 36 knots, honestly not the greatest experience for a destroyer, and probably why a lot of the time you may take a lot of damage in Halland, because you're just so slow. I feel like the faster destroyers, the more likely you're going to be able to actually dodge damage, but being super slow, I think you're just going to eat a ton of damage. Something like Daring, I even use full speed ahead, the skill that gives you ship speed, and well, I use that on Daring because Daring is another destroyer that goes extremely slow, and I kind of don't like having to deal with a super slow destroyer. I mean, at least Daring does have smoke, but at this point I do kind of enjoy having a little more speed over a couple of, 0.2 kilometers of detection. So to me, it's not the end of the world. We stopped paying attention a little bit, but we can also say maybe we took that damage on purpose to leave us on 1,000 HP out of our 2,200, which is honestly what, 10%-ish of our HP. Nope, I lied, like 5% of our HP. So right now we're getting like 19% reload on top of our max reload mod. So we have, what, 30, is it 30%? I'm trying to do math right now, but math is pretty hard. 30% reload boost on our 1.4 second reload. So we basically just have a ridiculously fast reload. Rhode Island trying to turn away. I dumped my torps in preparations for him to just run from us, hoping that he would just turn and maybe go towards the rest of the actual surface ships that he could fight. But instead, he starts slowing down and starts turning his guns. So we're just going to slam on the brakes now because we're anticipating him to just fire with his aim assist, which is exactly what he does, and he completely whiffs. And now we're just going to turn, and maybe we can duck for the island. We're hoping that our team can spot for us, but having some decent range in Halland and an island to just farm this Rhode Island from, we're going to have a pretty fun time farming. But unfortunately, we are the only thing over here, the only thing spotting that Rhode Island. But we're just going to keep blind firing. Hopefully we can land some shells and maybe set him on some perma fires here. But a 1 second reload. Kind of wish there were more ships that we could, you know, farm here. But yeah, enemy Aki did eat a torpedo. I think he is currently flooding. We're trying to see where that Rhode Island is. He might be trying to push us with his second radar, now that we know he does have radar and isn't a person that has engine boost still. But Rhode Island starts pushing in towards us, comes closer to our island instead of turning away, and we finally have some spotting from our friendly destroyer coming over from Delta, and now we can finally put in our full DPM into his superstructure. We set him on an instant double fire. He's trying to push closer and he does pop a radar. So we just start driving away and we dodge his shells. I don't think they could quite lob, but his secondaries are lobbing the island, so we can't sit here and we do need to drive away. Unfortunately, we're not able to finish him off, and one of our teammates do, but that DPM was absolutely nutty, and now we have even less HP. So I think we're getting like 19.9% of reload right now, and yeah, you can see we have like a 1 second reload, which is pretty fast. At this point though, enemy destroyer is at A. Our team was a little more intelligent than theirs. Our team ran away from their destroyer because obviously our Shima didn't want to do anything against the enemy DD, whereas their team just kept pushing towards a Halland, which was kind of interesting to say the least. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of this match, just shooting our guns, because I mean it's not often that we're gonna have our HP this low and a reload this fast. And at the last second I noticed a city on the island at the objective, but yeah, too bad we didn't notice it sooner. We could have done some shore bombardment there. But yeah, 3400 base XP match. Can I read? No, that says 35. I can't read. But yeah, Halland, Connor, and Helfrich getting our reload as low as possible, taking damage, trading. Kind of the most fun experience for Halland, at least in my opinion. But yeah, fire chance skill I think buffs us to actually 9%, which is kind of crazy. 9% fire chance with just one skill could get it to 11 if we decided to use Robin as an inspiration instead of Mordov, but at the same time 6% of reload, does that make much of a difference? I don't know, maybe not really. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more, and share with your friends, or leave us a comment down below for other ships you want to see in the future. But anyway guys, till next time, aloha.